What's going on YouTube? Three Sons RC come back at you another bench, bash, and breakdown video. Now today we're super excited to show you guys the unveiling of this directly from Horizon Hobbies, this Arrma Kraton 8S EXB 2023 sent out to us to test with Three Sons RC. You know, cause we're just super thankful to be at the level with this RC channel, you know, because finally people are realizing what a big deal Three Sons RC is, and Horizon RC, you know, they realized this. They sent us out this rig, and I mean, you guys got to know that I'm joking right now. I mean, honestly, I mean, we just bash over here at Three Sons RC, and we're blessed and honored to have the audience that we have, and we're excited for this to be a part of our channel. And if I got to thank anybody, honestly, I just got to thank M2C Racing for putting out these awesome parts and helping take this rig to the next level. Really, this thing is just a beast right out of the box from Arrma. But now this is going to be more of a showcase video. We're going to go through how these parts work together, the upgrade path. If you're considering getting some M2C parts and you're like, hey, I can't buy the whole thing outright, that's very difficult to do. It's a couple dollars, right? It's not the cheapest option to just buy it all outright. If you can, you're blessed. That's awesome, right? A lot of us can't, like myself. We got to piece it together, right? But guys, one of the key things about this video that we're going to focus on is we're going to dispel the myth that M2C Racing and their parts add too much weight to a vehicle and it just causes things to break. Because let me tell you, you add some tires, you add some heavy duty batteries, I guarantee you when we all get done, I'm going to show you how much this rig weighs right now, because it weighs 24.4 pounds on the scale. I weighed it 3 times. I'm going to show you what the weight of the vehicle is afterward to show you how little these parts actually weigh, because there's no debating that M2C Racing is at the forefront of innovation for RC car parts and durability and supporting the community and having a real test team that goes out there. And I'm honored to be a part of the team, right? And I'm going to install every single part on this rig. I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm going to do a full unboxing. Just kidding. I'm not going to do any of that last part. I'm not going to do an unboxing. I'm not going to put all these parts together. You can go to M2C's website, m2cracing.net. I have a bunch of videos on there installing all these parts on my Outcast 8S that's completely M2Cified. So check those videos out on my channel or subscribe. I appreciate that. That's awesome. We do this for y'all. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to do that. So like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Let's run through these parts real quick. Let's do a quick showcase. Let's do a quick preview of what's to come with Three Sons RC, because we got some exciting things coming up. And we've been sent some things, some products to test, and just some new vehicles coming to the channel. So real quick, Method RC, they sent us out these belted tires for the 1/5 scale rigs, so appreciate that. Props to them. They also sent us out a set for the 1/8 scale rigs and all these different adapters for the Max, for the X Max, and for our 1/5 scale Arrmas with the 24-inch lugs. They got a lot of different adapters on there, so props to them for sending those out. We're gonna be doing some more videos with the X Max, completely M2Cified. Got a couple more upgrades on there, and we also got this TMT body on here that we're gonna test out, so props to TMT Bodies for sending that out as well. Also, this guy is one of my favorite rigs right now. If you have not played around with a Corrali rig at all, you do not realize what you're missing out. Some guys have tested these out and just taken them to the moon. Aldo Loyal was a buddy of mine, just a great, King Salami, he's called, right? So he sends this thing to the moon. Also his Skeeter. Check out his channel, subscribe, like his videos for sure. He's doing some great stuff out there. But Corrali sent that out. I love that rig, super durable. I've bashed the heck out of this vehicle and I've had a lot of success. More videos to come for the Corrali Kronos, so check out the channel. We're gonna do more on that. We also got the hybrid Outcast. We got a couple Outcasts here, right? We got the Outcast 8S. That's completely M2Cified. We got the hybrid Outcast. That thing's M2Cified. Got my son's Outcast. And then we got the hybrid. This is actually on a 1/8 scale platform. It weighs 10 pounds less than this rig down here, and it's 98% the same exact size. So I got a couple videos on this. We got some HoBao tires on here. Speaking of HoBao, we got the Hyper MT2 vehicle from HoBao Racing. So props to them for sending that out. That's coming to the channel. That's going to be bashed. And a little sneak preview of something else that, right? Not going to show you too much of that because that's going to be in another video. That's a new hybrid coming out, and obviously got the Mojave coming up. I've done some cool mods to this thing to toughen this thing up. I want to do a separate video on some special things. This is the toughest RC out the box, and I'm going to do a separate video on how to make the toughest RC even tougher. So lots of cool things to come, but let's get into these parts. I've been waffling like entirely too much, so let's get into this. So at the foundation of this vehicle is obviously the chassis. Right now, this chassis, I don't think there's any parts here that are not made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. Now, it's also certified. There is a difference between just throwing that 7075 around out there and certifications that I know M2C Racing has for all their metals. This metal chassis, 7075 aluminum, is the foundation of this build. Now, this is a great chassis that comes stock on here. It's 5mm. If you're going to be bashing hardcore or just maybe landing bad or maybe bashing in skate parks where the punishment's just going to be harder than normal, you need 7075. you need M2C Racing. That's what you need. We got the Hyper Overkill CVDs from M2C Racing, and we got the center drive shafts. And with those center drive shafts, I've been breaking these a couple times, right? Because I put a Max 5 and 800 kV engine in a lot of my big rigs, I've been busting these pins. So I chatted with Mitch and Avery, and they put together these pins. These go into the center CVDs, lock it all in. They're much tougher material. They're hardened, harder than stock for sure, and that'll keep those pins from popping and breaking under extreme power. And basically, it'll keep that guy from popping out. Another little weak point that Mitch and Avery were quick to hop on were these pillow ball retainer nuts. And basically what these do is, upon bashing, these pillow balls that are from Arrma, they're just one piece, and they'll start loosening, and then all of a sudden your stuff's falling apart, you have a lot of slop, it's not holding together, and your tire can pop off, different things can happen, and you can damage your tires. So these are great from M2C Racing. It breaks it up into two pieces where you have the pillow ball retainer right here, and then the nut on the other side. With these two pieces, the one's not going to cause the other to loosen up. Besides the chassis, probably one of the most important upgrades is the front and rear hinge pin blocks with the A, B, C, and D block from M2C Racing. Obviously 7075, rock solid, and in concert with those, you want to use these hinge pins from M2C Racing, hardened material, much stronger than stock, and that works with this and really locks in the front and the rear of your bulkheads, holds your arms in place, so that way any kind of shock is really mitigated, and it just basically sends any kind of shock waves around the diff and around the bulkhead and protects the bulkhead itself. We're running a lot of electronics and a lot of power with these rigs when we're trying to send these things to the moon, right? So we got the M2C Racing ESC plate. Now this is just the one for like the Firma 160. It also works with the Max 5. There's another one that works with the Castle XLX2 if you choose to use that. I'm going to be using the Max 5 plate, so this is fine for me. And then with that, the motor mount that attaches to the chassis that pretty much needs to be used with the chassis specifically. They go together. Then you have the sliding mounts. There's 3 different flavors of these. You have one for smaller pinions, one for bigger pinions, then you have one for 8mm shafts, and they kind of give you all the different options that work with this mount and that work with this chassis. Now, we're all thankful that Arrma upgraded the shock shafts to 6mm, and the shock shafts are a little bit more burly on the EXP. So M2C Racing came out with this whole kit to completely convert your shock shafts over to 7mm super hardened steel, treated, and it's a cartridge. You just got to drill it out with the bits that come with it. It's pretty easy. And honestly, M2C Racing actually has all these videos on how to install it on their website. Avery does a great job of how to install that. So that's probably one of the biggest opportunities with the original Outcast and the original Kraton was the chassis and the shafts. Next, we're going to talk about the steering rack. Now, the steering rack was essential because these rigs are a little heavy. When you take a side impact, it's easy for that shock to run up the arm, break the steering arm, and then your steering's all wonky. You've broken something, and it's a mess to get in there to fix those parts, or even a bolt that breaks off. What they did with this is they actually trimmed off a little bit of material so you can fit bigger cans in this engine now, especially with the Outcast because it's a little bit more crowded, so this is more essential. We have the Servo Saver axle, made out of metal. We also have this motor mount support brace block, and this bolts right into the M2C Racing motor mount and makes it nice and tough so there's no weak spots in there. Then we have these rod ends for the center braces, and I'm going to focus on these 4 in the center of the rig and leave the outboard ones plastic, so there's a breakaway piece for that. So those are all the parts from M2C Racing. So props to Mitch and Avery for just putting out some amazing parts and how they work together. I'm going to talk about my suggested upgrade path, but before we do that, we're going to do that new car thing, right? We got to pull this plastic back, guys. I haven't even done this yet. It's been sitting on my shop for a while. Oh yeah, there you go. This is about as much of an unboxing as you're going to get from Three Sons RC nowadays. The guys designing rigs from Arrma are just killing the game right now for these body designs, especially on the EXP lineup. So real quick, guys, this is my recommended upgrade path. If you got to start out and get some parts, you can't buy it all at once. I really don't know anybody who does that anyway. Is I suggest getting the chassis, of course, with the motor mount. They go together, and then whatever sliding engine mount that you think goes with what you're running, grab those. That would be the #1 part. If you had to start with just one thing, start with the chassis. That is the foundation, right? Then after that, the biggest weakness, I would say, besides that, especially if you're running an RTR rig, will be the shock shafts. Get the shock kit, the whole conversion. You could get, M2C Racing has just the shafts for the RTR kit if you want to do that. But really, this is what you want to do. You want to get the whole cartridge set. You want to replace it with the 7mm shafts. That hardened steel, those hardened shafts, 7mm, plus the shock rod ends that are metal are just going to be bulletproof. You know, good luck breaking these or bending these. And if you could possibly mess up anything that's here or break any of the stuff, you know that M2C Racing has the best warranty in the industry. After the shock shafts, I would suggest for side impacts, probably, I would say next would be the steering rack, because these ends can take a lot of punishment, but that shock is going to run right up the side of the rig into the steering and could potentially break these. So I'd probably go steering rack next. Then I'd suggest going with the front and the rear blocks. If you can't get them both at once, I would probably suggest the rear one first, then the front. If you can't do them at the same time, just because the rear takes some funny impacts, at least with my driving, I've landed on the rear more times than not. So just take that shock away. I'd probably say go rear first, then front, or do them both at the same time with the shafts right here. Then after that, you're probably going to be running more power through your engine. You're going to want more performance through your ESC, through your motor. So get yourself the ESC plate based upon what kind of ESC you're running. And then also with that power, you're going to need stronger shafts. You're going to need the overkill shafts. These are super duper beefcake for the CVDs on the outbound, and then the inboard ones. These are just a tougher material, a lot thicker. I'll do a comparison picture right there. Right? And you can just see they're a lot thicker, and the material used, and they're treated differently with the metal processes that M2C Racing, that's proprietary, right? Then if you're busting out those pins, grab these guys, and then it's going to be just kind of the auxiliary stuff. One thing I forgot, guys, is with the chassis, probably one of the first upgrades is I would get these pillow ball retainer nuts. And then what you're going to do is fill in the gaps as you need. And also, if you're breaking stuff, then obviously you're going to get the axle earlier. Or if you're breaking the pins, you're going to get these a little bit earlier. Or if you're going to a big power system, you might get this earlier. I get it. But those are my recommendations. Now, we're going to go ahead and install these parts right now, guys. So ready? 1, 2, and 3. All right, guys, we got all the M2C parts fully installed on this Kraton EXP. And, guys, we're here to officially dispel all the rumors, bust all the myths here, guys. Before we installed all these parts, guys, this rig was 24.4 pounds. I weighed it 3 times. Afterwards, guys, it's 25 pounds flat. I weighed it myself 3 or 4 times, me holding it. It separately, it always came out the same. So, guys, myth busted, 25 pounds. It's literally not even a pound more of weight. Now, I can't explain why all that is. I didn't weigh every single part, guys, but I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this is a 4mm 70/75 chassis with support braces. That must come out about the same, maybe even slightly lighter than the EXP chassis, which is 5mm of a not quite as strong, not quite of a high grade of aluminum that is used here by M2C Racing. Guys, myth busted. It just does not add a lot of weight at all to add these parts to your rig, but it adds a ton of durability. 2 1/4 ounces. That's it. So guys, if you want to, go ahead and call it a whole pound. Look, 24.4 pounds versus 25 pounds. Add a couple more ounces for this. Round it up, call it a whole pound. We added a pound to this rig by adding all these parts. And if you've ever held quality 70/75 aluminum parts in your hand, you'll notice they just don't really weigh a whole lot. And remember, guys, when you're putting these parts on here, you're taking all the stock parts out of the rig. So it's not a full addition. You're subtracting those plastic parts, or there's other metal parts, and you're replacing with M2C parts. And that's why there's really not much in this, guys. I think it's well worth a pound, guys. The ready-to-run version of this rig is actually 1 pound lighter than the EXB version. So there's a difference there. So 1 pound more, guys, you could add heavier batteries, you could add bigger electronics, you could get even heavier tires, and add a lot more than just even a pound to your rig, guys. One thing that is heavier on the M2C Racing side is these dog bones, guys, and you have 3 different options you can choose from. Now, the stock ones are 40 grams, the beefcake ones are 49 grams, and the overkill CVD drive shafts are actually 70 grams. So if you want to save a little bit, guys, if you want to actually come in a little bit lighter, you can just do the standard beefcake ones. They're fine. If you want to go nuts, do the super duper beefcake overkill. You have your options there. But if you want to save a little bit, go with the regular beefcake ones instead of the overkill. You'll still have plenty of strength over stock. And guys, if you're wondering if I weighed it with the body, I did the body with both times. So some of y'all might have a Kraton at home. You want to compare your weight to this. I'm going to drop the electronics in here. We're going to put in an 800 kV hobby wing motor in there, a Max 5, and we got this eBay servo, whatever. And we're going to drop that in there with the receiver box, and we're going to weigh this again afterwards so you can then weigh your rig and see how much it weighs. So we're going to do another 1, 2, and 3. Guys, got all the electronics put in this vehicle. Got the Max 5, 800 kV. But you guys want to know, how much does this vehicle weigh now that I've installed all the electronics in this rig? It's already been M2C-ified. I've already established it weighs less than a pound more than stock. Now with all the electronics, now these are not stock electronics, it weighs 29.6 pounds. That was 25 pounds beforehand, now 29.6. So it's 0.6 pounds when you install all those electronics. Now, you don't have to go as big as I did, but really pretty much the ESC you want to go with for this vehicle is a max 5. 800 kV, you can get away with 1100 on here. That will work too, but I like the 800 because it has a little bit more torque for sure, but it does weigh more, so you can go lighter options on this. Put in the comments, what is the weight of your vehicle? Weigh yours. Tell me, am I way off in my measurements? I've been very methodical with the way I did this. I weighed this 3 times afterwards with the electronics, with me holding it. Just the vehicle separately came out exactly the same. So hey, if you want to argue with me in the comments, that's fine. Post your vehicle up in the comments. What is your maxed out Arrma Kraton 8S weigh? Put it in the comments without the batteries, with all the electronics, just like you see it here. That was with the body, of course. 29.6 pounds, M2C to the hilt. Guys, check out these overkill beefcake drive shafts. These things are ridiculous. They barely clear the perches down here. These things are amazing. You want some beef on your rig. Does add a tiny bit of weight, but man, it is so worth it. Look how tough that thing is. And look at the 3 of these things. We got the 7mm shafts, these beefcake super overkill shafts, and we also have these turnbuckles from Arrma. This thing is just beefed up to the max. Let's go. Now we're going to be running some Ovonic batteries here. We got the 4S 6000 milliamp hour 100C Rebel Series batteries. These are fantastic. I was buying Ovonic way before the sponsorship. Appreciate them sending those out. Link in the description. Check those out. We're going to be rocking the Dumbo RC receiver transmitter combo. Great transmitter, super reliable. And of course, we're going to run the stock tires at first. These are the newer big block versions of the Copperhead 2s. But we're going to try these Method RC tires for the 1/5 scale. So guys, this suspension is just super plush. I got the M2C caps on here also, not just the suspension kit, but I also got the 8S caps in here that actually give a little bit more resistance on the way up. So it slows down for the after bounce, makes it just super plush, super soft, and I'm excited to run this rig. So what do y'all think? These are all the parts available on M2C Racing, completely M2C-ified. Beefcake adds about a pound to your rig. Super well worth it. Now, Arrma, guys, you guys just killed it with this rig. This is super tough out the box. The EXB is a fantastic rig. You can run the heck out of this thing stock and not worry about it. Now, if you like to warm up at about 100 feet plus, you like to hit ramps at super high speed, you mess up. Hey, Three Sons RC, we kind of mess up sometimes. We don't land perfect. Hey, it's great to have M2C Racing that has your back when you're going super bashing. Great rig from Arrma. The design is just fantastic. M2C just taking rigs to the whole nother level. Appreciate the partnership. These parts are just rock solid. Got the best warranty in the industry. And this is a showcase, guys. This is showing you all the parts that are available from M2C Racing for the Outcast and the Kraton 8S. Just takes this vehicle to a whole nother level. It was fantastic out of the box from Arrma. And now it's just super duper beefcake, guys. Hey, appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out M2C Racing for all the install videos on this that I've done. I put a lot of time and effort into that. Like, comment, subscribe to Three Sons RC. We put a lot of time into these videos. We're just blessed and fortunate over Three Sons RC to have these opportunities to share these parts with you. And guys, you guys know that there's a reputation behind these parts. So just check them out on the website. Subscribe to Three Sons RC if you haven't already. Super appreciate that, guys. Videos to come with Three Sons RC, taking this thing to the moon. We're going to blast this thing. We got a crazy pinion on this thing. We got a crazy spur on this thing. This thing's going to the moon. You know how we do it, right? So videos to come on that. And thank you, RC community, for watching this video this far. If you've watched it this much, you're super dedicated. And you need to hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Check out our other videos. We got a lot of helpful videos on the website. And check out M2C Racing for all these parts, for all the Arrma rigs, for all the Traxxas rigs. Tons of parts available. M2C Racing just killing the parts game out there, supporting the community with the basher teams. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to the team. Appreciate you guys. And more things to come from Three Sons RC. Got a bunch of rigs out here that we're going to be bashing out here. Me and Jackson took out the Mojave and the Scent. We bashed those things together, so videos to come on that. This guy's coming out. Don't look at that one too long. That's top secret. This HoBao, we're going to bash the heck out of this thing. This is supposed to be tough as nails. You got to check out Stefan Z on YouTube. If you are not subscribed to that guy, Stefan Z, he is on the forefront of freestyle RC out there. And this is pretty much the only rig that he can run close to stock. Check out his channel on YouTube. Well worth a look. And we're excited to bash his rig. Appreciate your RC famo. Three Sons RC. Peace out.